Okay.
Perfect. So, a very good evening to all of you. We hereby welcome Sangeeta ji and we hereby welcome everyone. I'll just read a small profile of Sangeeta ji. Sangeeta Pandit ji has started her career as a chartered accountant in 1984. She did practice. She was a partner of a firm. Post retirement, she did her doctorate in management and joined academics. She is independent director, corporate trainer, and mentor to many entrepreneurs. She is actively involved in activities of ICAI, Bombay Chartered Accountants Society, and CIIA. She passionately works for the cause of cancer and was facilitated by Tata Hospitals. She works closely with various trusts and NGOs for the cause of financial inclusion. She has written research articles on varied topics in academic journal. She is invited by US universities as a guest faculty. She was awarded as a dedicated professor award and leadership in education award by World Education Congress. She is HOD finance in one of the premier B schools of India and highly appreciated finance faculty. She is mentor to many students and she has been giving all these trainings and sessions to numerous people. We welcome you, Sangeeta ji. Thank you so much for giving your time, and we are happy to see that a chartered accountant even post retirement is geared up for helping their community back. Thank you so much, and we welcome you.
Okay. Thank you for the kind words. So let's just start. Today we'll discuss some tips on how to be happy and successful. Uh, See, there are many happy people in this world who may be successful or relatively successful, and there may be successful people in the world who may be happy or relatively happy. The challenge is to have a perfect union of these two sets and to be both happy and successful in life. So who is there in this world who doesn't have sorrow, who doesn't have some misery, some frustration, some depression? In everybody's life, there are some issues, some untimely death in the family, relationship issues, financial issues, being in debt, some major illness, frustration in practice, not having the quality clients, quality practice, clients not paying money, not being able to do proper time management to keep abreast with the changing laws and all. So everybody's life there are issues, but still there are many happy people in this world. How do they do it? See, happiness is a habit, something like, you get up in the morning and brush your teeth, or you cough and sneeze and just automatically put your hand in the front. So similarly, happiness is a habit which you have to develop over a period. You have to work on it, and for everyone has to understand what works for them. See, for me, it is the laughing Buddha. He's with his hands up and a huge belly, laughing away to glory. That he has and a huge stomach. So he has a stomach to stomach any tensions, any traumas, any frustrations, and still face life with full energy, laughingly. I have a friend who visualizes the waterfall. When she went to Kodaikanal, that waterfall just came in front of her eyes, and she says, I still remember that sheer strength of that waterfall, the pristine water, the beauty, the mist flying. So whenever she's feeling low, she visualizes that. Another person I know, he used to always admire the banyan tree in his hometown, in his village. It's a huge banyan tree with a wide trunk and gives a lot of shade. He says, whenever I'm feeling depressed, I think of that banyan tree and it gives me a lot of strength. So you have to see what works for you. And happiness is a habit which you have to develop. Now, success is very difficult to define. And success from whose perception? Is it from your family perception of your parents, your spouse, your children? Is it from your neighbor's perception, your bosses, your employer, your colleagues, your friends? Whose perception? See, success should be from your perception, and it will keep changing with age. And let me tell you, each individual is unique. See, we all have different fingerprints. Our facial features are such that we can, be distinguished from each other. Each one is unique. You have to know what you want in life. And let me tell you, today this digital technology, the media and all is, influencing us so much that you and me may dress up as Myntra feels or any apparel company feels we should dress. We may be eating not what we like, but what Zomato or Swiggy or Scootsie offers on discount. So you have to be mindful that you're not influenced by these influencers and know your own true self. Now, the quantitative aspects of success could be your bank balance or your salary, your net worth by the of the value of your shares or mutual fund investments, your jewelry, and so on. Qualitative aspects would be like how many people can you just call up and say, hey, speak to me, I'm feeling a little low, without asking their permission. How many people's homes you can just enter, not in today's situation, of course, but you could enter and say, hey, I've come here, give me a cup of coffee, I want to chat with you, I'm going to stay over at your place. So these could be qualitative factors. So qualitative factors along with quantitative factors could help you to be successful and happy in life. See, decision making is one very important aspect, and only in hindsight you know whether your decision was right or wrong. And for a decision to be correct, it has to be prudent, it has to be optimum, meaning it, like in business, you take decisions where all the people in the value chain are compensated properly so that there is growth and survival in the business. Similarly, in life too, you have to take decisions where all people involved are kept happy. And you can take prudent decisions when your state of mind is correct. And this state of mind, let me tell you, all of us have a dualism in us. We live in a higher consciousness and we live in a normal or lower consciousness. Higher consciousness is being balanced, being pragmatic, able to look at issues from a third party view, not being swayed by emotions. And normal consciousness or lower consciousness is having the experiencing the emotions of greed, fear, envy, jealousy, having ego issues. So we are all human beings. We are going to dwell in the normal consciousness or lower consciousness. But we should try, at least when we are taking important decisions in our life, to be in higher consciousness, because the right decision has an impact on your success and happiness. So how do you reach this state of mind? See, it could be introspection, it could be meditation, it could be listening to music, it could be being with nature, it could be even playing computer games, whatever works for you. But when you're taking the correct decisions in your life, whether to take art, science, or commerce, or which qualification to pursue, which job to take on, where to work, whom to marry, and when you're taking such important decisions, be mindful that you are in a higher conscious state of mind. You are in a, I wouldn't say spiritual, but in the right state of mind. So most of the people I'm addressing me to are related to finance. So I was trying to relate the concepts. So we all know the point of indifference is the point to which it doesn't matter what is your source of finance, whether it is debt or equity. Beyond that point, only there is a positive impact on the earnings per share if you go in for debt financing. Similarly, in life too, up to a point, it doesn't matter. It doesn't impact your success or happiness. So whether it is your day-to-day living or in your profession, don't get swayed by arguments or point of views. Let go. It is not impacting your health. It is not impacting your happiness. It is not impacting your success. So let the opposite person feel that they have won the argument. Let go and let the opposite person feel they have control over you. Actually, it is not impacting you. We all know financial leverage, too much debt in the capital structure. Many companies have gone under the NCLT hammer. So be mindful that you do not unnecessarily take debt. About, I think a few years back, the banks were so much flushed with liquidity that I was getting WhatsApp messages at least 5 to 6 in a day. No questions asked. Loan given for this purpose, for that purpose. Banks were just giving money. So except, of course, if it's for your tax benefit, don't unnecessarily take debt. See, in the Western countries, people at the age of 15, 16 leave their homes and they are on their own. They start earning money. They get educated. Their higher education is on loan. But it is not so in India. I mean, you can be very modern. You can dress in Western clothes. You can eat all the possible cuisines, have very high-tech gadgets. But remember, modernization is not Westernization. We should not forget our culture. Like, it is absolutely nothing wrong in being dependent on your parents till a late age, because in our country, we look after the old people. So don't unnecessarily go in for too much debt. Now in this COVID situation, we have seen high paying salaried people are getting laid off. What do they do when they have so much of EMIs with them? We all have done NPV analysis that you buy an asset today, but the cash flows come at different periods. So we multiply it with an appropriate DCF factor to find the present value. Similarly in life, dwell in the present, be in the now. Forget the past. When people come to me and say, see, so-and-so spoke something about me. I was cheated by so-and-so. So-and-so went back on this word, and so-and-so has abused me in life and all that. I said, that is past, that is history. Just forget it. Maybe you can write down on a chit of paper all that has traumatized you in your past and just tear it and put it in a iron vessel and burn it off, or just put it in a trash can. Forget the past, it is history. What matters is the now. Live in the now. We have done ABC analysis in inventory management. 80% of the stock in the godown is just about 15 to 20 is about 15 to 20% of the value, and just 20% of the stock, maybe 80% of the value or 70% of the value. Similarly in life, very few things really have an impact on your success and happiness. Jot down those things which really impact your happiness and success, and forget the others. Of course, those things will be there in your life. That is life. But don't give it too much importance. It may be just impacting your ego, your viewpoints. Let go and just consider those points which impact your success and happiness. Cash is king was always said so. And now in this COVID-19 situation, it has become far more important. See that you have adequate liquidity with you. We all know the basic concept of accrual, where life is considered as an accounting period, and all the good things that you do and the bad things that you do get accrued to you and get encashed in this life only. So if you submit a report and it is your work, but your entire team gets the credit, nobody appreciates you the way you ought to have been appreciated. Okay, it's okay, but remember it has accrued to you and it will come back to you. The benefit will be come back to you. Similarly, if you do something wrong, take credit for something which you have not done, do some backstabbing, that too will come back to you. Remember, the accrual concept works in life. Window dressing, presenting a better picture than actually what it is. So I'm proud to be a chartered accountant, to belong to this fraternity where we are low profile. We are very hardworking and we are very diligent. But we need to have good PPTs, flashy PPTs, use jargons, because today communication is very, very important. But communication skills and just dressing up, just having form without substance doesn't work in the long run. It may work in the short run. We all know the iconic Supreme Court decisions of substance over form. So form is becoming more and more important today, but without substance, it is not going to work out. They both have to have work parallelly. See, I retired from my chartered accountancy practice and joined academics and started teaching in the best B schools. And I realized that what they are teaching in B schools is nothing else but what we have learned from our parents or grandparents, or in our festivals or religious gatherings and all. The Bhagavad Gita says, action alone is yours. Leave the fruit severely alone. Always be focused on performance, not on the benefits that is going to follow, because that will bring down your performance. It will distract you. Always be focused. Never have any conflict of interest. That will corrupt your performance. Let there always be transparency in your performance, and just be action oriented. Michami Dukdam, the Jains say that forgive and seek forgiveness. See, if you see in mergers and acquisitions, bitter rivals, competitors in the market come together for better synergy for both of them. Similarly in life, for the see the bigger picture and let go petty issues. Forgive, you seek forgiveness. There's nothing wrong in saying sorry. I mean, I say don't ape the West, but these three magic words which the Western people use frequently, please, thank you, sorry, we must put it in our vocabulary more often. The Bible says, do unto others as you would like them to do to you. That is karma. I mean, you do good, others will do good to you. You care for people, others will care for you. You respect others, others will respect you. So behave in the way you want the world to behave with you. The Parsis say good thoughts, good words, good deeds. If you have good thoughts, it sees in your eyes, it is seen in your face, in your body language. Good words radiate positivity. People want to be with you, want to speak to you. And of course, good deeds, when you do good deeds, they come back to you and you are rewarded by other people wanting to do good for you. I would just like to share some stories with you, which my real life stories. It so happened that when I entered academics, my students started getting placed and then later on getting promotions, getting married, and then having some issues and they used to come back to me. And before I realized, I had become a mentor and a sort of life coach. So there is, say, Mr. A. What happened at the age of 23 or so? He lost his, he came to me and said that his father has lost a lot of money and they are in deep debt and they have lost face in the community, and somehow he wants to earn big money to pay off all the debts. So after 2 3 sittings with him, I realized that his strength was that he was not at all reactive. If you abused him or you praised him, he was not swayed by praise or he was not hurt by abuse. He used to filter the words and then respond them in a matured way. So I told him, see, you have all the good qualities of a trainer. So why don't you train people to do something? So then again, we brainstormed and he came to the idea that he's going to train people to give online tuitions. About 10 years back, that was. And he trained an army of educated housewives and students to give tuitions in maths, science and social studies from 5th standard to 7th standard. Of course, it was hard work. For 6 months, he trained them, gathered the syllabus of IB schools, ICSE schools, SSC schools and all. And within 3 years, his cash registers were ringing and he was doing so well that a big company bought over his business for a huge amount. Suddenly people started looking up to him, that at this age of say 26, 27, he had earned such good money. He had a very rich uncle who called him to join his business, and he made him responsible for a vertical which was not doing well. He soon turned it around, we strategized and all, and now he's become a serial entrepreneur. And another person had come to me. She was a physiotherapist and a very successful physiotherapist. She had a love marriage, and her mother-in-law was very different type. Like, she did not understand her commitment, this habit of greeting people by laughing. Hello, she used to greet with a laugh. And her patients would come with her with their pains and aches, and she would listen to them and start responding with a giggle. Like if someone said, see, my wrist is paining, she used to start and then examine the wrist and all. So I said, why don't you behave in the same way with all the people, even those whom you feel are negative towards you? And she started behaving the same way with her husband, with her mother-in-law, with her entire married family. And whether their issues were solved or not, we don't know, but her issues were totally solved. She started becoming very comfortable in her relations with everybody at home. And then her performance in her profession also improved, and she gone and got many national awards and international awards. Another person had come to me. This lady inherited her father's business. They had about 70, about 100 employees, I would say, and a turnover of about 80, 90 crores. And she came to me and said, there's too much competition and there is too many substitutes entering the market, too many constraints doing business. I'm scared now it will all fail and all the stakeholders will be traumatized. So I realized that she had a lot of compassion and she could nurture people very well. Like, she had 2 kids which she had brought up very well. Plants grew very well in her care. She used to bring home a stray kitten or a sick puppy and nurture it back to health. So I said, why don't we recruit people from 3-tier towns, from remote places? And she used to recruit MSc from very ordinary colleges, and from marketing people from 3-tier, 2-tier towns. And because, see, intrinsically people of course, when she recruited, she saw that they were good, intelligent, because very often we confuse our information quotient with intelligent quotient. A person may not be well informed because of lack of exposure, but maybe intelligent. So she recruited intelligent people from lower strata of society, from remote places, and aggressively trained them, supported with certificate programs and all. And the way these people have bloomed, and they're so loyal to her because they see their peers where they are down and where they have reached in life, and they work with 100% dedication, and now our organization has exponentially grown, and she's very happy because she has a very reliable team to look after the organization. Then I knew one chartered accountant who is no more, but he was very successful in life and also very happy in life. What interacting with him, I realized that he was very fond of trekking. He used to go up the hills and he used to tell me that that space, that unending sky and that immense silence, it just makes me feel that I'm such a nobody in this vast universe. It brings a humility in me. He always tried to, see the sunrise every day and tried his best to see the sunset every day. That filled him with a kind of wonder of the nature, a kind of peace in him, which helped him to build very strong teams. Now I know one CEO. He's today the CEO of a large MNC. I know him for the last 30 years. And let me tell you, in my 30 years, I've never heard him speak one negative word. I feel that if you have nothing good to say, don't say. I don't say always appreciate and when it is not needed, when it is not required, and flatter people. But if you don't have anything good to say, it's better to be quiet. I would like to end by saying that don't ever play the victim. There will be always in your life, you feel somebody is trying to control you, somebody is trying to abuse you or oppress you or anything. No, that is because you are allowing yourself to be a victim. No, don't ever play the victim card. Take initiative to be a leader, be proactive. And also, there are two types of people in the world. One are whiners and one are winners. Don't keep expecting people to give you things. You create your own ecosystem. Thank you.
Hello, hello.
Yeah.
Thank, thank you so much for those kind words, Sangeeta ji. Now we move forward to question and answer session. We
Okay.
have questions with us. So first question is from Neha. Ma'am, can money buy happiness? What are your views on the same?
No. Can you hear me?
We all can hear you.
Okay. Money cannot buy happiness. Money is a medium to buy goods and services. The goods and services could be tangible, intangible, but happiness is a feeling, an emotion. It has a habit which has to be inculcated, which has to be developed. You cannot purchase it in the market.
So ma'am, you mean to say a person who cannot afford 2 meals a day, he can be more happier than you and me?
Definitely. So often before this COVID situation, when I used to travel and I used to see on the roads, kids playing on the roads, poor children, so happy.
So do you think that is right? Matlab, if you say that, because you said one more thing, that live in present. So there's one more question on this, live in present, and so the person said, I love to watch web series and movies. It makes me feel happy. But after completing a series, I always have a guilt in mind that I was not able to study for that period of time. I may or may not be able to clear my exams, because he always says that I love watching web series. So for him, the happiness is web series. Can he continue doing that?
Please, I would say watch more if that works for you. If that is going to make you happy, like for me, what I know what works for me. Everybody should try to introspect and see what works for him or her. If web series and watching serials working for him, he should definitely do it. And please don't feel ever guilty in life. That is being a misogynist. Sadist is someone who gives pain to others, and misogynist is someone who gives pain to oneself only. Never pain yourself. uh, there's nothing wrong. And in life, always the 80-20 rule works. That when you study, it's actually only 20% of the time which is really productive. You need these things, distractions. Like, see, even something like pizza, you cannot enjoy it though it's so tasty unless you put that pepper, this what is that, oregano and chili flakes in it. So you have to have this watch web series and all to keep yourself, there's a spice in his life so that he can study better.
Okay. So that made me very confusing, ma'am. Ma'am, almost we spend 8 to 10 hours in office work daily. So if you said that 80-20% rule, many people will approach me and say, "Ki, let's keep the office timing to 20% or 2 hours only." So
No,
please
no.
clarify this position.
Okay, no, that doesn't, that will never work. But if you see, when you are working, your real productivity is not complete time. You need to have coffee, you need to chat. So, and that helps. Like this, when he watches web series, it will definitely help him to focus.
So that means everything has to move in balance. He cannot watch web series all day long.
Balance is the right word.
Balance is the right word. Perfect. So money cannot buy happiness. Balance is the right word, ma'am. The next question is, can failures make life better? Are failures important for learning?
See, that is
Can you share your experience?
how do you describe failure? I wouldn't say failing an exam is a failure. It is just not clearing the exam. Failure is a serious word. You have to approach it with gravity. Failure is not being loyal, rewarding loyalty with betrayal. Failure is not being committed. Failure is not performing 100%. I mean, not clearing an exam, it is just that you were not prepared enough for some reason or the other, or others did better. The median was far better, the others did far better, or whatever reason. And I really think in the long run, it doesn't matter whether you cleared in the first attempt, second attempt, third attempt, fourth attempt, fifth attempt, whatever be it. As long as you clear it and you're able to perform well. I think
Uh,
you are undermining the word failure by saying not passing an exam. Failure is something much larger.
okay. So even after 10 attempts, if a person is not able to clear, so that
I, I,
means
I
it is
mean,
not a failure from life. He may need to introspect whether this course is right or not. Not
absolutely,
right for him.
absolutely.
So
Aptitude is not there. The wrong
abs-
decision is there. That's why I said when you take decisions, you should be in a proper state of mind. That is very important. Decisions should be taken when you're in a higher consciousness, and that you can achieve by introspection.
Perfect. So ma'am, can we say that you are not a failure? If you fail, you are a failure when you fail to try.
You are
Or
not, you are a failure when
when
you
you
are
fail to
unethical.
try.
No,
Okay.
you are a failure when you're unethical, when you're dishonest, when you're fraudulent. I
Okay.
mean, exam failure is too trivial a thing to call it a failure.
Perfect.
It's maybe a wrong decision, as you say, after 10-year attempts, you don't pass.
Okay. So when the question comes from Alok Mehrotra ji, he says, I love to hear sad songs, which gives me a lot of happiness. Can it be seen as a positive activity by you? Do you think this is right?
As I said, for everybody has to understand what works for them. Like my friend, it was a waterfall. For someone, it was a banyan tree. For me, it is the laughing Buddha. So you have to understand what works for you. And it may not always work for you. Maybe for some period of your life, it may work for you. You have to keep finding things which is your anchor.
Perfect. Ma'am, you have already completed your career as a CA and now you did PhD and serving students. So this comes from a very young student and she asks, when did you consider yourself successful? What were the parameters?
So as I said, success is also the concept changes with age. Today, I would say my definition of success is to be happy, to be healthy, and to be wealthy. And I am not ashamed to disclose that I'm quite materialistic also. And there's nothing wrong in being materialistic, to be focused on accumulating wealth. And that is, I say, at your young age, you have to be very prudent in building your portfolio of investments and taking decisions and understanding the difference between trading, speculation, and investment.
Perfect. Ma'am, but ma'am, just from a young chartered accountant perspective, can we have a certain financial goal or a non-financial goal after which we may retire? Do you think this is the right?
See, having goals in life and being happy and successful in life, having goals in life may help you to be a little successful, but it's not directly connected to happiness. It's like, say, a ship is coming to the harbor, the lighthouse, the lights helps the ship to come to the harbor. So you need goals to take you in your path of life. But it is the captain, a good captain, which is needed to steer the ship and the fuel to run the ship. So happiness is that fuel which you need to have in your life. And goals are just milestones which you achieve.
Perfect. Ma'am, there's a lady named Shikha. She writes, why do we have to work today and be miserable now so that we can be happy later?
Okay, very profound. But actually, see, you don't need to be, you can work hard and not be miserable. They are not, there is no nexus between working hard and being miserable. See, actually, if you do some physical work, your endorphins, are activated and you feel happy when you run or something.
Yes.
But if you do the same exercise every day, it becomes monotonous. So similarly, maybe she is doing the same thing, working hard mentally at the same thing and feeling the strain of things. So maybe she should switch a little, even play Candy Crush or Solitaire or something.
Uh,
It will help.
so maybe you can find your happiness in your work. If it doesn't give you happiness, then you need to change your work, right?
Or get diversify it, get little distracted.
Perfect. The person asks, we have heard many people saying that happiness lies within yourself. How can we find that happiness? Whereas we always see at external things and find happiness. How can we find happiness among ourselves, within
See,
ourselves?
to some extent, other people and external activities can impact your happiness, but that is temporary. To be rock solid happy, it has to come within you. And as I said, to come within you, you have to understand yourself. And today with this digital media, it is very difficult to understand ourselves because we are so much influenced by the onslaught of information. We have to do introspection, meditation, and go in that still state of mind to understand ourselves, and then we know what works for us. And when we are in a higher conscious state of mind, being aloof, being pragmatic, being balanced, we take the right decisions. And when we take the right decisions, it will definitely impact our success and happiness in a positive way.
But will it happen someday? Like today sitting, I may think that if I become a pilot, I'll be very happy. Let's suppose if my next thought is I'm in that state of mind, I am able to meditate, and I have achieved something, but I want to be a pilot tomorrow. Then if I start working towards that, leaving my CA profession, I may not be happy after 6 months because I am not able to clear those exams and be a pilot. Actually, I may not be become pilot. So how to tackle that?
So we all know strategy, feasibility, implementation. So what thoughts we have, they should not be fantasies. No, they should be linked to reality also.
Perfect, perfect. Have balance again. Balance thoughts. Uh, Ma'am, best and worst career decision you have ever made. So people wants to know about you. So a lot of questions are about you only. What is the best and worst career decision that you made?
So see, let me tell you, the best decision I think that I have made is to be a chartered accountant. So
Perfect.
it has opened many doors to me. And see, a very wise person once told me, "Let not your qualification be your obstacle in your career." So I and I don't know why I became a chartered accountant. Also, maybe it was just being swayed by the time or the times then, with all my friends doing CA and all. But it may be funny, but I thoroughly enjoyed studying for my CA exams. And Once I entered academics, I realized the kind of respect chartered accountants have. And I'm very happy that that was the decision I have taken. And as I always say, decisions you understand whether they are prudent or not in hindsight, much later on. The decisions you take today have an impact, positive or negative, in the future. So I feel that was a very good decision which I took, and it is helping me today. And all that we have learned and what we do in practice, it really benefits us sometime or the other.
Perfect. CA is a noble profession. Ma'am, this is the best decision that you take. The question is, what is the worst career decision that you took?
Okay. Actually, I'm very happy today in academics. Maybe I should have diversified earlier in life.
Or maybe you should have diversified much before.
Yeah, a little earlier
Okay,
in life.
little earlier.
I
Okay.
retired and joined.
Okay. Ma'am, the next question is from Abhinav. He asked, ma'am, every time I reach a goal, I set another goal. When will I reach my final goal?
Okay, this is a very cute question actually. He should watch the movie In Pursuit of Happiness or read the book of Richard Bach, Jonathan Livingston Seagull. Life is a journey, and you have to live in the now, enjoy every minute of it. And it is wonderful that he can put goals because that will give him a direction.
So, matlab, entire life he has to set goals only for himself.
Yes, yes. If that is his way of working, he should not change it.
He should not change it. But you have to be happy about setting up goals and achieving those goals.
Absolutely. And life is a journey, it is not a destination.
Perfect. Ma'am, how do you deal with negative mindset after multiple failures and how to overcome such failure?
See, it is negativity is very normal to enter negativity. We know people also having everything in life getting depressed. So it is a very natural feeling. So as I said, you should know what works for you. Uh, for Mr. Alok, it is listening to sad Hindi songs. For someone, it is playing games. For someone, it may be music. For somebody, it may be some visualization technique of some sunrise, sunset, which they have seen and they have appreciated a lot. So just come again. What is the question?
Ma'am, the question was how to deal with negative mindset after multiple failures.
That's what you have to change your definition, your understanding of failure. I always say failure, don't link it to passing exams. That is very, very petty way of defining failure. I mean, there are so many people who are rank holders who are not doing well. Of course, many are doing extremely well also. But your academic excellence, the exams don't always bring out the best, just as elections don't always bring out the best. So don't bother about failures in exam. Don't call it a failure. Say you've not cleared it this time, you'll clear it next time. And if you're negative, you will not clear it the next time too. No? And also, I have seen in life, you are like the people you interact with. So try and be with positive people only. Remove negativity from your life.
Perfect. Ma'am, can we link this in corporate culture also? Bosses, often scold you for something or write a very bad email to you marking 10 other people. So that becomes a lot of negative sentiment for an individual and they feel pressurized by this.
See, feeling pressurized by somebody saying something negative to you, as I said, you have to filter it. Never be reactive in life. Don't respond to any negative things. Then you are playing the victim card. And you should always be a leader in life. Be proactive and take responsibility for yourself. You don't expect people to always, handhold you, be gentle with you. I mean, that is very wrong to expect. You're not a baby, a 3-year-old or a 10-month-old baby to be nurtured and looked after. You are going to receive, life is not fair. You may be blamed for something which you have not done. That's fine. I mean, this is life. You have to learn to take things with a pinch of salt, be strong, and don't play the victim card. Understand how to handle things. You don't have to be combative, you don't have to be assertive, you don't have to be argumentative, but one thing always works, and that is performance. So be focused on action, 100% action.
Take lessons from that, I'll say. Improve.
That is, if you
Introspect.
stop being reactive, you okay, it has disturbed you, keep it aside. When you are in a proper frame of mind, that is why I said always try and dwell more in your higher consciousness. Then you will be able to look at it from a third party view.
And if, ma'am, can we say if we are unable to understand the reason of that backlash on us, can we go back to the senior person and ask him what was my mistake? so that I could improve next time?
See, definitely you can do it, but still, if you are, you cannot analyze things when you are disturbed.
Yes.
So wait,
Take a break.
take a break, be cool, go in a good state of mind, and then reread, and then filter it out.
Perfect, ma'am. Ma'am, the next question is, what are the core principles that you follow in your workspace, that you followed maybe in your workspace?
See, I always feel in life, everything has to be win-win. You cannot do anything which only benefits you. And you cannot be such a martyr that you do things which only benefits the other and doesn't benefit you. It has to be win-win. My principle in life is apt, be optimum, accountability, that take responsibility for your actions. You can't then say, no, I had told so and so to do it and that person didn't do it. It's my duty and I will be accountable for it. A P is for act, is A is accountability, P is performance. Performance is the only thing. You be diligent, hardworking, and focus on action. Perform well. There is no excuse for shabby performance. And it is very easy to perform well if you go to the core of the issue, if you understand, if you work hard, if you work long. And hard work has not killed anybody till today. It is stress, it is this reactive behavior which disturbs people. And third is transparency. I mean, I feel it's wrong to say somebody will steal my idea and all that. There is enough scope for everybody to work on the same idea. So be transparent, carry the team with you, speak a lot to people around you, with your team members, with your colleagues. Be an extrovert and carry the team with you. So my core principles is accountability, performance, and transparency.
Accountability, performance, and transparency. Perfect, ma'am. And there is a question from Praveen ji. Madam, what is the medicine for happiness? There is a medicine from COVID that Swami Ramdev Coronel, but what is the medicine for happiness?
So I think, firstly, you should know what works for you. Try to find your anchor in life, whether it is music, whether it is visualization, whether it is eating, whether it is some aroma, whatever it is. Second is try to be in a higher consciousness when you're taking right decisions, important decisions in life, so that the decisions are prudent, so that because these decisions are going to impact your happiness and success.
Perfect, ma'am. So, ma'am, last written question is, then we'll take all the questions from viewers. Ma'am, I just want to understand what is emotional quotient and how it is important for leaders. If you can just throw some light on this. People say that, leaders have IQ, everyone has an equal IQ or, somewhat equal IQ, but there is an importance of EQ also. If you can throw some light on that.
So that is what you said, balanced. A good leader should know. See, we all know leadership qualities: lead from the front, be able to take quick decisions on the feet, be motivation, be able to motivate people to work and all that. So we all know what are the leadership traits. But which quality to use when? That is prudence. Some jobs have to be done by teams. Some jobs are better done by individuals. A leader should be able to distinguish that. Then some people need motivation and need hand holding. Some people need to do better if they're left alone. So a leader needs to know that. So leadership is again balance and prudence.
Perfect. Uh, Ma'am, there's a one serious question from Mr. Deepak Sen. He says there is a recent that very recently an actor committed suicide. He was successful, but he was not happy. So, and how to differentiate? Any person could be battling with stress. So this is what I add to it. Any person could be battling with stress sitting across with us. How to identify that person? How to help out that person? And your views on this?
That's what this webinar was. It's a challenge to be both happy and successful. These are two sets which we should try to have a union of these two sets. So
संगीता जी एक मिनट. संगीता जी आपका म्यूट पे चला गया है. कैन यू अनम्यूट इट योरसेल्फ?
Okay, so now
Sangeeta,
am I
can
audible? Okay.
again
So
from the
nobody
start.
actually knows the true story about that, but it is a very sad story. But you can be successful and not happy, and you need to be both happy and successful in life. And for that, as I said, the qualitative factors in your success is very important. And friends play a very big role in your uh, to keep you happy and successful. You need to have good friends. Like I would say in my experience, it was all when I passed my final CA, inter CA was 2 groups and final CA was 3 groups. I was not prepared for inter CA 2 groups. Like I felt I was not prepared. And I said, I will give only group 1 this time and I will give group 2 next time. A friend of mine came over, kya kar rahi hai tu? Exam hai kal? And I'm relaxing. No, I'm not giving. I've decided not to give, though I'd filled my form. Arey, she cursed me and screamed at me and whatnot she did and forced me to give the exam and I passed with excellent marks. So these are the kind of friends you need in life. Like
Uh,
I know one girl, a friend of mine wanted to take a divorce. Things were not going good with her. I went to her and tried to sort out the issues. I said, these are so frivolous. Yeah, forget it. Take a break. Go on a holiday somewhere alone and come back. You will realize. And after a lot of, arguing with her and everything, she said, okay. And now I think that's one of the happiest marriages I have seen. So you need at every stage in life, you need some friends. And they
Perfect.
may be, I mean, different friends at different stages, but you need friends.
You need friends. Perfect. Ma'am, there's a one question from Mr. Praveen again. One should have emotions but should not be emotional. Your views on the same, ma'am.
Absolutely right. Absolutely right. One has, see, dukh sukh should be the same. That is what one of the bhajans says. You should be stoic in life, like you can, too much of success should not go into your head, or too much of uh, pitfalls should not put you into depression. You should know that what goes up comes down and what goes down has to go up. So be balanced, as you say. Take,
Balance.
accept things as they come. And see, it is a very difficult not to be swayed by emotions, but you can do it by practice.
So we can say let life happen.
Absolutely. Let life
Let
happen. It is going to happen. You cannot stop the flow, but you should never be reactive.
Active. Perfect, ma'am. Now everyone is, welcome to ask their questions. They can write on chat. They can unmute themselves and ask the questions directly to Sangeeta ji. Anyone who has a question can ask. Ma'am, there is one question that comes directly to me. We learn from our mistakes, yet we are always afraid to make one. That is why we don't take decisions. Uh, Ma'am, is this true for you also?
See, again, I said, as per the definition of failure, mistakes from whose perception? Is it a
Uh,
mistake from your family perception, neighbor's perception, boss's perception, or your own perception? If you genuinely did something which you thought was correct and then it backfired, I don't think it is a mistake. And I feel in life, you should know your sweet spot, your strength, whether it is your nurturing ability, whether it is your ability to be compassionate, whether it is your ability not to be reactive, whether everybody has some strength. And you have to use that strength in your actions.
Perfect. Any more questions from anyone? How to eliminate fear of failure? Praveen, Praveenji, everyone is free to ask any number of questions. So please ask questions as much as you can. You can either type, you are free to unmute yourself and ask directly also. How to eliminate fear of failure?
Okay, again, I come to the same answer. Failure, what is your definition of failure? If failure is not passing an exam, sorry, that is not failure. That is undermining such an important word as failure. Failure is being unethical. Failure is not keeping to your commitment. Failure is not giving your 100% in things. Passing an exam is a very trivial thing. Don't take it so very seriously in life. take it with a smile, take it laughingly, and definitely you will pass. Don't be so obsessed with it.
No,
Uh,
nothing is more important than life itself, right?
Absolutely, perfectly put. Life is far more important than an exam.
Perfect.
can I ask a question,
Sure,
Kashia?
sure, please, sir.
Yeah, I just felt, the everything around has become so materialistic that people generally tend to associate their success or happiness with material pleasures, and it becomes very difficult to dissociate with this approach. Uh, so, however you try to do that, it's very difficult to do that. So, how do you get there?
Uh, I didn't understand your question. Meaning, yes, people associate success with your net worth or your whatever is your salary level or that way,
Exactly.
the way you dress and all. But happiness is not associated with it. So
Yeah.
it is. So that is maybe society looks up to you when you are materialistically well endowed, but you are happy if you can crack the code of life, and that is understanding your sweet spot, understanding your strength, and doing actions according to them, uh, introspecting or meditating or praying or chanting or listening to music or whatever works for you, and trying to understand yourself. I think that is happiness. And if the
Okay.
world looks up to you, if you are materially successful, fine. What's wrong with that? And the world looks down on you when you are not materialistically a failure, fine. It should not impact you. I think you should be clear about the perception about yourself, not what others perceive you to be.
Perfect. Perfect. Makes sense. Thank you.
Perfect. Ma'am, there's one more question coming from Ranu Jain. We know what is right and we know what is wrong, but when it comes to application, there is a problem. How to avoid that?
See, again, what is right, what is wrong is very relative. We do know that there are gray areas. Sometimes we do tell lies even to children to, to make them do the right thing. So, I mean, I don't overthink, I feel, about things. But what is wrong is, as I keep saying, is unethical behavior, committing a fraud, not giving 100% performance, uh, doing insider trading, conflict of interest, not being transparent enough, taking kickbacks, living the wrong way. So these are all major wrong things in life. So don't overthink. And application will come by itself if you're focused on performance.
Okay. Ma'am, just you mentioned taking kickbacks. Giving kickbacks is also a problem.
Everything, like when you give bribe, I feel both are wrong. No, the one accepting bribe as well as the one giving the bribe.
But ma'am, just to share a lot of tax professionals, I'll say tax officers does not allow things or files to move. So there is one option: either you lose a case. I'll quote. I had a very big case going with the commissioner, and there was this guard standing outside his room. He said, "Bhaiya, either pay me 500 or keep on sitting." So I sat there since morning 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Then there is a limit. Then probably I had to pay him 500, maybe 1,000 rupees to get an entry within 5 minutes. So I paid a bribe. I accept.
It's
But
very sad. This corruption is very sad, and it is not only unique to India. I think it is all over the world. But digitization is bringing about more of reasons
But
for.
my question is, do you think that person who paid, because this is the question that I have been getting on a personal chat, do you think the person who paid is also wrong? He's ethically wrong. He should not do this. Because his next question is that probably my boss, will fire me if I don't pay a bribe. What to do? Dharam Sankat.
Absolute dharam sankat. I can't answer the question. It is
I
very, very
can't
personal.
answer
It
the
is very individual. Sometimes I feel for the greater good, something wrong which is not impacting others negatively could be done, but it is a very personal question. Like I
question.
remember even once when I went to the income tax office, the return was, I was an article clerk there. The return was 1 day late, and the peon told me, I will put the stamp of yesterday, give me 50 rupees.
Yes.
So I said, no, the client will pay money. And
Uh,
that's it. And then
Perfect.
actually I represented a firm which had such a
Strong
stellar
ethics.
reputation that even the people in the income tax department knew that it will do well in life if you are honest, truthful, and
का सबसे बड़ा रोग है लोग क्या कहेंगे. तो अब हम क्या कहें आप बताओ. What are your views?
actually, I like that movie मुकद्दर का सिकंदर, अमिताभ बच्चन. नो, रोते हुए आते हैं सब और हंसता हुआ जाता है जो. So I think if you want to be happy in life, forget the world.
Forget
Be
the
focused on what is your perception of happiness, your perception of success. And again, I come to that, just be focused on performance. Don't be distracted by what people think about you, what benefits you're going to get, and all that.
perfect. Next question is, ma'am, everyone says that I am very unlucky person.
I don't think it is true. I knew one person also who used to tell me that I'm very unlucky with property. Whatever property I buy, something happens to it. Either in that area, the market value falls, or I get cheated, or something or the other happens. I'm never going to buy property. So these are all our creations in our mind, maybe created by others or created by ourselves. It just can't be possible.
I agree. So Deepak ji, there are so many astrologers and people who know you can read palmistry. No one was able to predict that COVID is coming. So anyone who says that you are unlucky, please don't meet that person again. Ma'am, so the next question is there, if there is any resentment faced from some family member, how to get rid of the same and be happy?
See, these are relationship issues. If the resentment is faced is because you are playing the victim card. You are accepting that resentment. So have that leadership in you, not to be swayed by that resentment, and still be, and don't be argumentative. I always say, don't be combative, don't be too assertive, and don't give back, don't react. But try again to be just focused on what you want in life, and things will fall in place. Don't try to go and solve the issue. The solution will come walking to you.
So you are saying if some family member has a resentment, we should not solve the issue. We should let the issue be there. Nahi. Please, are
Yeah,
you
I
saying?
mean, you cannot change a person.
Yep,
You can change yourself, no? So you don't get disturbed by that resentment, no? You be focused on what you are, what is your duty and what you like to do.
perfect. Uh, why happiness matters? Being happy is just about feeling good. Yes, happiness matters. It's about feeling good. Yes, you are right. What do you mean? What do you mean? Happiness means living for others or ourselves.
That's a very deep question. Uh, but it is very true that when you live for others, you are living for yourself. When you help others, you're actually helping yourself. Let me share that I used to go to a hospital to counsel patients, and they had so many issues in life, about money, about understanding the sickness, about staying problems, food problems, and all. But after a day with them, when I used to come back home, I used to realize how lucky I am. And
Yes,
so when you help others, you understand the gifts of life, and you are happy. So you have to live for others to live for yourself.
perfect. So rightly said. Uh, how much do you think someone's individual temperament affects their happiness?
Uh, all the all of it, 100% your temperament impacts your happiness, and that is why I always say you should know what ticks for you. Like for me, it is the laughing Buddha, say, whether it is a waterfall or a no, sunrise or sunset. You should know what ticks for you. You should know what is your strength, what is your sweet spot, and you should try to dwell in the higher consciousness by whatever works for you, whether it is introspection, whether it is meditation, whether it is music, or whatever.
Perfect. So do we have any more questions? Anyone wants to ask any question to Sangeeta ji? Perfect. I think we have. In the process of helping others, we become helpless to help ourselves many a times. What is your view on the same, ma'am?
See, I think there are three ways of behaving in life. One is helping others at our cost.
Hmm.
That is, I mean, trying to act like some god or something, which we are not. We are human beings. Other is, acting like, uh, helping ourselves at the cost of others. That is a very negative way of working. It is going to come back to you. You have to have this win-win situation where you help others and in the process you help yourself. See, I would say, like, in business, it is called goal congruence. Like a business wants, say, branding. A business wants good reputation of its product. But what is the salesman? The salesman is focused on commission. So you give the commission, say 10% commission on first sale, 15% on the second sale in the same community, 20% sale commission in the same locality. So what does the salesman do? He sells ethically. He gives very good after sales service. So both the aim of the business is also met and the aim of the salesman is also met. So always in life you strategize such that by helping others, you're helping yourself also.
Win-win situation. Create a win-win situation.
Absolutely.
Perfect. So Deepaji, you are asking a question, is being successful equal to happiness? Is happiness equal to successful? Sangeeta ji has answered this question in the beginning of the session. So we'll share the video with you and you can just refer. Right. Any more questions for Sangeeta ji? One more question. Uh, we think that after achieving something, we'll be happy. But when we reach that goal, we realize there was one more hurdle. Riddhi, ma'am has already answered this question. So perfect. Who measures it? So Deepa ji asks, who measures success? Whether happiness is equal to success or success is equal to happiness, who measures it? I think you, Sangeeta ji has said times and again, you yourself is responsible for measuring everything, right?
Absolutely.
I have written all the points, Sangeeta ji. Now, the next time I can give an half-hour session. Ma'am, any tip regarding how to manage people at work? I am administrative post in a private engineering college.
I beg your pardon, what's the question?
Ma'am, any tip on how to manage people at work? I am an administrative post in private engineering college.
Okay, managing people. Now, I don't know what are the issues in that, but I can say the admin issues are such that every member in the team thinks that they have their own viewpoint, and everybody wants to implement their viewpoint, and they always feel that the team leader, what he or she is speaking, is not is out of the blue, maybe not working out. So, bringing together so many viewpoints is a challenge. A good leader leads without the team members understanding that he or she is leading. You will have to learn to carry the team with you. Listen to everybody. And very often, people don't speak properly, but they have substance in what they speak. So even if you feel the person is not speaking properly, arguing with you and, back answering you, maybe there is some substance in what he or she is speaking. So give credit or value everybody's suggestions. And finally, and always have meetings. Meetings help. People may in the meeting blurt out something which is not very welcome, uh, which may disturb others, but it really helps having meetings and brainstorming and all. But ultimately, the goal he should convince of all the team members is, what is your goal? Is it value addition to the student? Is it reputation of the institute? Once you know your goal, see that your team works towards that.
Perfect, perfect. Uh, so anyone wants to ask a question? Alok Mehta ji, I think you have raised your hand. Let this be last question and then we'll close. Alok ji, you can ask. Alok ji, you have raised your hand. You can ask a question. Okay. Okay, then we close the session. Thank you so much, ma'am, for your experience. Thank you, ma'am, for so much for your comments, for your knowledge, for your time. Uh, we we have learned so much. Entire team, all the people have learned so much. Thank you so much, ma'am. And people are giving all the thank yous. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. We are closing the session now.
Okay, right.